Hi guys, this is just a little review on Chapter 6 and all the things we talked about. Chapter 6 was all about our different kinds of angles that we looked at. So the first types of angles we looked at were complementary and supplementary. Remember, complementary angles is two angles that add up to 90. Okay, and supplementary, if you think about that, were two angles that add up to 180 degrees, right? Or a straight line. Okay, so like if I'm looking at this picture here, I can see I have two complementary angles here because this is a 90-degree angle. And if I want to solve for x, I would just do 90 minus 35. And if we do 90 minus 35, we would get 55 degrees. Okay, or if I said, what is the supplement to angle A, when angle A is 35 degrees. So the supplement would be angle B, and we would just do 180 minus 35 to get 145. So the supplement to angle A, which is 35, would be 145 degrees. If you want to find the complement, you just subtract from 90. Okay, hopefully that's kind of a spark back. Another type of angle we talked about were vertical angles. Remember, vertical angles are the ones right across from each other. So like x and 35 go together, and y and the blank space go together. So if I wanted to find the value of x, I know x also has to be 35 degrees. I know y has to be the same as this angle, but since I was not given that angle, I have to figure it out another way. So I can use supplementary angles here to figure out y, since I know that this other angle is 35. So we're going to do 180 minus 35. I must have liked the number 35 today. So that would be 145 degrees. And if I asked you to find this angle over here, because they're vertical, that must mean they're equal, and that is 145 degrees. Again, vertical angles are made by two lines creating an x, and therefore z and y are equal, x and 35 are equal. Okay? Let's go on to the next page here. Next we have all these wonderful angles. So this is, remember, when we create two parallel lines, so I'll even make my little mark here that says they're parallel. They don't look very parallel. And then we're crossed by the transversal, right? Hopefully you remember that word. Okay, and alternate interior angles are when we have two angles on the different sides of the transversal, but they're inside the parallel lines. Okay, so that would be 3 and 6, 4 and 5. And off to the side, I'll zoom this out in a second so you can look at these and write these down if you would so desire. Okay, next, if we look here, we'd have alternate exterior, and alternate exterior is when we're looking at the parallel lines opposite sides of the transversal but outside the parallel lines. So 1 and 8 are alternate exteriors to each other. 2 and 7 are alternate exterior. So if I knew that 2 was 35, I would also know that angle 7 was 35. If I knew angle 1 was 75, then I would know that angle 8 was also 75. And knowing that 1 and 2, 7 and 8 also have to add up to 180. Same thing with the alternate interiors. If I knew angle 3 was 25, angle 6 would also have to be 25. If I knew angle 4 was 100, then angle 5 would also have to be 100. And just noting that 5 and 6, 3 and 4 also have to add up to 180. Next is corresponding. Remember, corresponding is when they're on the same side of the transversal, but one is exterior and one is interior. So 2 and 6 would fall in that category. 4 and 8 would fall in that category. 7 and 3 would fall into that category. 5 and 1 would fall into that category. Okay, so go ahead and pause this video and you can write down, these are all the matches that go together, and remember 3 equals 6. Okay, so go ahead and pause it right here. You can catch up. Let me fix this 6 right here because he kind of looks funny. That's a 6. Okay, and you can always go back and refer to this video as you're making your exam task cards if you're so choosing to do that. And we'll have some practice problems to go along with that. Okay, next is triangles. What do we remember about triangles? So if we look, all of their angles must add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so if we look at this, we know that this angle is 62 and this angle is 64. And if I do 62 plus 64, that gives me 126. Plus x has to equal 180. And I can solve that like an equation, which is good practice for algebra and math 8. So we're going to have 180 minus 126, which conveniently is 54. Okay. Now I can also find this exterior angle. Now remember, an exterior angle is just an extension of the triangle side that looks like this. Now we know from experience that y and 64 have to add up to 180 degrees. But if for some reason they didn't give me this one, all I have to do is add the two opposite angles together. So 62 plus 54. So 62 plus 54 is going to be 116 degrees, which I would have gotten that same answer if I had done 180 minus 64. Okay, so exterior angle theorem says the two angles not touching the exterior angle will add up to be that